Vivian Krause has been researching this for years. She's about to join us from Calgary. Vivian, you say you have found a total of about $40 million from these American groups to over 100 Canadian environmental and First Nations groups here over the past decade. We haven't been able to corroborate all of that, but what we have been able to check out does line up pretty closely to your numbers. What's been the impact of all this American funding?
This campaign has been devastating. Every single pipeline project has been sabotaged by this campaign. Oh, and I would add the industry's unsuccessful response. The industry years ago should have taken this campaign more seriously and should have addressed it.
But
now,
how do you know that this wouldn't have happened without American money?
Because we never talked about pipelines. They were out of sight, out of mind. 10 years ago, there was never a dinner conversation or a pub conversation over pipelines. They've been made into a big issue because this campaign claims credit for generating more than 1,000 news stories.
Are you saying then that some of these protesters, that some of these Indigenous leaders are dupes, that they're just doing this for the money?
No, I'm saying, I'm sure that, like all of us, we're all concerned about the environment and especially about the environmental impacts, the climate impacts of our use of fossil fuels. But behind the protests, I would never suggest that individual Canadians are paid. They're all, people sign online petitions and go to protests based on their own decisions. But behind the protests are paid organizers. That's what's new. That's what's different about activism today, is that it's orchestrated.
Don't Canadian environmentalists have the right to take money from whomever they want to make their argument? I mean, you've got the oil industry who's spending lots of money to promote its side of the argument.
The problem with the whole campaign, Wendy, is that it's not helping the environment, right? Because benching Canada, bullying Canada is what is happening out of the oil market. It doesn't keep oil in the ground. It just means that another country produces the oil. And that's the problem with this campaign, is that it's not helping the environment. The tar sands campaign has not kept one barrel of oil in the ground. It just means that another country is producing that and supplying the oil market instead of Canada. Investment in the Canadian oil sector is down by tens of billions of dollars. That money is now going into the US oil industry.